Hello, everyone. Chef Andre Robinson here, welcoming you to another edition of Purpose Me, the interviews. I'm here today with Miss Karen Artis, who has an amazing story to share with us. Tell us about your amazing story that you have.
Well, where can I begin? 29 years ago, not 29 years ago, when I was 29 years old, my journey began. I had to get a liver transplant. And from then on, things happened. I got rejection. I had to get a second liver transplant. Then things happened. I had to get the third liver transplant along with a kidney transplant.
Okay.
And life went pretty well, as long as I kept myself healthy and take my medication and everything and go to my doctor's appointment. So the journey was okay.
But then something very interesting happened last year.
Right, exactly. And it's been a year.
Okay. So last year you had attended a family member's wedding?
Wedding, yes, I did.
Okay. And then what happened after that?
Well, after that, I developed COVID.
You got COVID?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So then you had briefly shared before that how you had a kidney and liver transplant.
Right.
So because of that,
my immune system is compromised.
your immune system was low.
Correct.
So then when you got hit with COVID,
Right.
it really affected you.
Yes, it did.
How did it affect you?
I had to get on a ventilator. I had pneumonia, and it got worse. And then I went to rehab.
Okay.
And then I came back to the hospital.
Okay.
And
So when you were experiencing, you said you had on ventilator, so you had breathing problems.
Right.
So when you experienced your breathing problems, what had happened? You said you went to Penn Hospital?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, I went to a virtual hospital.
A virtual hospital.
First,
Okay.
Initially.
Initially, okay.
And because of my kidneys and liver transplant, they preferred that I come to them. Penn Hospital.
The Penn Hospital.
Penn Medicine.
Okay.
Hospital, yes.
So you was at Penn Hospital for a little bit.
Right. For a week.
For a week?
Yes.
Okay. And then you
Came home. They sent me home with oxygen.
Okay.
And Brett took care of me very well.
Okay.
And the nurse came out to visit and did their visit, and she said I had pneumonia. So I developed pneumonia. So then I went back into the hospital. I had to get admitted back into the hospital. And then after that, my kidney started failing. So then they had to put me, they didn't put me on dialysis just yet. But then I went into a rehab.
Okay.
And the rehab wasn't real favorable.
They didn't do
No. No.
Okay.
It was a long-term facility, which
Okay.
I needed more medical help than long-term.
So then you didn't stay at the rehab too long?
No.
So what happened after you left the rehab?
After I left the rehab, actually, Brett actually took me out of the rehab.
Okay.
They were really adamant about me leaving there, but he knew by the tone of my voice when I spoke with him, and he was like, I told him, they're not, treating me right. I couldn't breathe. I mean, and I needed more oxygen. They was telling me, oh, you need to lower your oxygen because you don't want to get dependent on oxygen. So, and then it took hours. It took hours for the ambulance to even take me to Penn Medicine,
Wow.
And once I did get there, I didn't realize I was even in the ambulance.
Okay.
Because by then I had passed out.
Wow. So then let me make sure that we regroup here. So you had went to a family member's wedding.
Right.
Got COVID.
Got COVID.
And because you had the liver and kidney transplant, your immune system was low.
Right.
So when you got it, it messed with your breathing and also messed with
Well, the COVID had given me, right.
Yeah, it had messed with your breathing.
Right.
So you had went to Penn Hospital initially, and then to rehab. And then now you went back to Penn Hospital.
Right, went back.
Okay.
I went back, I went from Virtua
Virtua
to Penn.
Penn.
then from Penn to the rehab,
And
then back to Penn.
back to Penn.
Right.
So when you had went back to Penn, what had happened? Do you?
Because of the pneumonia, they had to ventilate me. Put me on
Okay.
a ventilator because I
Okay.
was really unable to breathe.
Okay.
And that amount of oxygen that they was giving me,
Okay.
it still wasn't enough.
Okay. Now, in sharing your story before we had sat down, you had told me that once you had returned to Penn, that things had took a turn for the worse.
Yeah.
So, do you remember?
Do I remember? Not really.
Okay.
Not, some things fades in and out, but
Okay.
not really. No.
Okay. Now, I keep hearing about this Brett person.
Yes.
Who is Brett?
Brett is my fiance.
Okay.
And he's significant for me, to
Okay.
me and for me.
So you don't remember
No.
much after that, but
But I don't remember none of the doctors doing anything. But I remember him
okay.
encouraging me. Hi, babe. How are you? I could hear every word he was saying.
Wow. Well, let's meet this Brett person.
Right.
Okay. You say his fiance.
Right.
I'm gonna have him come in.
Right.
Hello there, Mr. Robinson.
Hello. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for doing this interview with me.
Nice to meet you. once
So
again.
this is the famous Brett
Yes, it
something.
is, yes.
Your fiance.
Yes.
How are you doing today?
Doing good.
So you had took Karen out of the rehab and took her back to Penn.
Correct.
What was said to be the outlook for her condition at that point?
Well, when I first took her to virtual, I step back maybe a couple step paces. I received COVID myself. I got COVID, and I guess I might have passed along to her. We attended the same wedding, so I was really neglected about going. I didn't really want to go, but she really wanted to go, and of course, being locked up for so long,
Yeah.
everybody wanted to get out, and it was good to see some family members, but it was just a little tough, when we went. Went there, I started feeling sick a couple of days later. I just started, so I might have gave it to her.
Right.
So,
Okay.
and I kind of got over my COVID pretty
Okay.
quickly. I had it for a couple of days.
Okay. So when she was back at Penn, what was the outlook? Because
Well,
was she
yes.
she was on the ventilator at first,
Yes.
and then what happened after that?
Well, when she was at the rehab, and she mentioned she was at the rehab, I was like even neglected about going to the rehab. Because they say it don't sound like a rehab that you need to go in, But they insist that she went because they said she need to go back to walk and doing her regular thing. But I thought it was too soon because when she did come home, she was on oxygen, and so she was at the rehab for a little bit, and they was really they would give me no information. They wouldn't call me. I kept
Right.
calling them. I wouldn't get information. She was wanting to be there 9 days, too long. So around Christmas time is when I just felt that she had to get up out of there because she
Okay.
got real weak. They had to put her on like a sea mask there, but she said she couldn't breathe. So they gave me a hard time even transferring her out of there.
Okay.
So I had a small container of oxygen with me.
Okay.
So I'd come in there and get her myself. So it was a big thing at the hospital. I tried to make a scene, but I wasn't gonna
Okay.
let her stay in there and suffer either.
Okay.
Right.
So she did get transferred to the University of Penn.
So she's back at Penn.
Back at
Right
Penn
at-
now.
Okay.
And
was this things get better at that point?
No.
No, turned for the worse.
So what happened?
Well,
Things took a turn for the
They
worse.
called me. So when she got there, they thought she would have been there a lot sooner. So they said she came here too late. She should have been sooner, but we don't know if she's going to make it out of here or not. We had to put her on a ventilator right away.
Wow.
And that was like the same day she got transferred over there.
That was the same day.
Same day.
Okay.
And,
So did she go into a induced coma or something?
Yeah.
They want to put her in a induced coma.
Okay. Oh wow.
They put her on and they also had to do a dialysis right away.
Okay.
They had to get my consent for her because I was sort of, caretaker at the time as well as, we lived together.
Okay.
So they put her on a ventilator and told me that not sure she's going to come out or not.
Oh wow.
They didn't know if
So
she was gonna make it.
so she's at Penn Hospital in a
Right.
induced coma. They're not sure if she's going to make it out of
They
there.
told me we'll do the best we can.
Wow. So you don't remember much at
I
that
don't
point.
remember much.
But what was the steps that you took to help ensure her recovery at that point? Because right now you're having a doctor saying you're not sure.
Right.
So what did you do to try to,
Before crying my eyes out, to be honest with you, I called my family members at 2 o'clock in the morning. I got the call. And my family members, her sister and brother that are in the medical field. And So I called them because some of the terms they was giving me, layman terms, I didn't understand everything they had to do to her so quickly.
Okay.
And so I called, they answered the phone, of course, when I called, thank God. And they told me she's in God's hands, we had to pray. And I felt, all I had to do was pray, just pray to see. I couldn't do nothing. I just couldn't do nothing but pray.
Okay.
I fasted and prayed.
Okay.
So
You fasted and prayed. How long did you fast it?
I fasted for a couple of days.
Okay.
And I prayed just constantly.
Okay.
And the family members did reach out and, call me as well. Spread the news to my brothers and sisters.
Okay. Now, you had a couple family members, and we won't mention their names, but family members who were actually doctors.
Yes.
And they had told you that they was actually preparing to do what?
They actually called me. They didn't tell me this until a week or two later.
Okay.
Because Karen was actually in a coma for 2 weeks. But they told me after she came out of the coma, they was planning on coming up for a funeral.
They were preparing to come for a funeral.
They told their jobs
And
that both of them told their jobs that we had to come to Jersey for a funeral.
and they wasn't really trying to be mean or negative.
No,
they was just being, and they was in their eyes they was just being
They
realistic.
just said what the doctors told them, what they heard, because I had them on the three-way.
Wow.
The doctors were very patient with me once I got the pen.
Okay.
And they said, they, of course, the doctors didn't tell me. My family members told me the truth. Like I said, a couple weeks later, that they was preparing to come for a funeral.
Wow. Now, you mentioned something earlier in the interview, because you said that he had prayed for you. You said you fasted and prayed,
Right.
but you also talked to her
Right.
Yeah,
during the coma.
The craziest thing, I don't want to be long-winded, but Aetna person had called me to talk to me about getting my Aetna updated. I said, Miss, I can't talk to you now. I said, I'm going through, she said, what's wrong? Anybody in your family got COVID or something? That's what it was called. I asked her.
Right.
And I said, yes, my fiance has COVID, that you mentioned it. And this is only 2 days later. So I wasn't eating, I wasn't really talking. I barely answered the phone. But something just told me to answer the phone. And she wound up praying. She would find a FaceTime me on the phone and prayed with me. One of the best prayers I heard.
Okay.
And
Wow.
she said, they didn't know me from Adam. And so I would pray for, and you can also get a video at the job. At the hospital. She said her jobs has it. So she said, we know we can do video, chat, and they set up a camera for me. University put up a camera, and I just talked to her like I'm talking to her normally, like I'm talking to you.
Okay. Yeah, because you wasn't able to really go to the hospital.
At all. I wasn't there to see you. I do everything.
Yeah.
Just
And that's tough when you're not able to really go there on top of that.
Right.
So, but you talked to her through the camera.
They had the video set
The
up
video?
for me. They had me download something on my tablet.
Wow.
And thank God I just talked to her. I'll let her know who asked for her. The family members would call and ask for her every day. My daughters would call every single day and ask for her. And just said, how's she doing? Praying with you. I had friends that told me they don't even pray, but they're going to pray for Karen. So I was just, love went out.
Did you remember him talking to you?
Yes, I did.
Wow, that's
Exactly.
amazing. So you remember
every word, every day, every word. And even some of the nurses was calling me babe. Hey, babe.
and you remember that. You remember
Babe,
hearing
right.
that.
Right.
Because I've always been told if you talk to a person in that state, it helps.
Yeah.
You
And it does.
And you're
it
living
does
proof
help.
of that.
Because I felt at ease because I was so unease at the nursing home, and when once I knew I was okay, I felt at ease that even though I didn't see him, I could hear his voice because he has a loud, booming voice, and that kind of protected me. You know what I mean? His voice really protected me and made me feel like I was okay. I was comfortable.
Okay.
I was good. I knew I was okay.
Okay.
I did this for 2 weeks.
Right.
Every day.
2 weeks.
Right.
So morning,
Playing
so
songs for my
I
songs,
played
my gospel
I read
songs.
the Bible.
Okay.
I did all that over the
So Uncle Brett, so who helped you to stay strong during that whole ordeal?
My brothers and sisters really, and my daughters was really there. The prayers that came out that some of the family members told other people they would call. And like I said, I didn't answer the phone much, but when I did, God be the glory. The glory was strong because I gave my life to God. And said, God, take over. I wish it was me there instead of her. Because her 3 livers that she went through before, and her kidneys that she had, things she was going through.
Wow. Wow.
It's tough. So I just thank God. He prayers work.
Amazing story.
Prayers work. Please,
Wow.
Prayers work.
Karen, what is the one main lesson that you learned from this?
My purpose, I believe that the purpose of God for me, is sometimes I just realize that God's purpose for me to go through this journey, and I had to realize even when I was younger, because you're young, you don't understand what's going on with you, and people don't really tell you exactly how you feel mentally.
Mm-hmm.
So I took it as, okay, God, this is the purpose that you want me to go through. This is this journey you want me to go through. Then here I am. I'll do whatever you ask me to do.
Mm.
And because I know that you will protect me and you will cover me through anything and everything. Mm. And this is how I live my life up until now.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
What is the one main lesson you learned, Brett, about this?
Mm-hmm.
God is there.
Mm-hmm.
God. Like I said before, God answers prayers.
Mm-hmm.
The purpose that I had to see her go through this was like, it really did a lot for me. My family members said, we sorry, Karen, that you had to go through to help him. Because it really helped me.
Mm-hmm.
Her going through this and being so close, with her.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt her protector, but I couldn't do anything but put my faith in God and her in the bosom of God's breast. Say, hey, God, she's in your hands. And, let's bring her back to me, because we have a lot of work to do for you as a couple. So we are planning on getting married real soon. We kind of messed around and said, we can do it, and now we know there's a purpose that we have to be a powerful couple for God.
Yes, yes.
And I know He can use us.
Yes.
I want to be used for His purpose.
So if the two of you can look at the camera, and this is the last question, if you can look at this camera and give a word of encouragement to a particular person or any group of people, who would that person or group of people be first of all?
Well, Karen, I'll let you go first if you want to. Because I have a group of people, I'll say that, but I use your thoughts together.
Right.
I can say that no matter how down you feel, depressed, or what you're going through, God can bring you through it.
Right.
So we can't get depressed, we can't get down, we're only human.
Right.
I'm not going to use that word perfect because no one's perfect. So I hate to use that word, we're not perfect, but we are human. And we do get down spiritually, even Christians, can get down.
Right.
But God is there to bring us up.
Right.
And, thank God it was a church I was listening to to help me bring it through. That I would listen to them every week. They brought me through a lot. And I won't say their name, but maybe I should. It's Victory in Christ Christian Center. They always tell people to shout out to them. So I should shout out to them.
Right.
Their pastor and bishop was really encouraging. They gave me a lot of words.
Good.
Yeah.
Who would you give a word of encouragement to?
Well, I would give encouragement word to anyone that's going through any illnesses, and reach out to people in your family, because they don't know what you're going through, and you should ask. You should ask, do you need anything? Do you want anything? Or can we help you with anything? Even though I never really asked anyone for anything, but because for me, the Spirit of God is all I need, and also when I tell Brett, I always tell him, you was meant to come in my life, and I was meant to be in your life, and so together we'll just storm the world, as far as our spiritual connection to God. And I just want to, just thank the doctors that helped, and there's so many doctors that cared, and really, you could tell they were genuine. You could tell the nurses were really genuine, and I just wanted to thank the people, like Brett's family, that all his family members and his friends. And they really came through, for me,
Neighbors as well.
Neighbors,
and neighbors is really strong.
And when I do see them now, and they look at me and I look at them, and you could just tell that they generally like was really caring and really was caring about me and and really wanted me to pull through, you know.
Good,
and,
good.
And,
Many
it-
friends.
and many friends, many more so Brett's friends than my friends, you know, because they never experienced nothing like this
Wow.
before, you know.
Well, there's a saying that goes, you don't look like what you've been through. And that is
Yeah.
definitely the case with
Right,
you.
right.
We thank you so much for sharing your amazing
Appreciate
story of power and prayer and faith
Right.
and recovery. And God is still in a miracle working business.
Right.
So thank you so much for sharing your story, Karen.
Thank
and
you.
Karen, and Brett, thank you so much for joining
Thanks
us
for
as
having
well.
us. We appreciate
Right.
And we thank you so much for watching this edition of Purpose Me, the interviews. Thank you and God bless.